Hello there, this is your girl Megan. Welcome back to my channel for all of my returning subscribers. But if this is your first time joining me on today, go ahead, hit that subscribe button because you know you want to, okay? And also hit that notification bell. That way you'll be able to know whenever I make an upload, okay? So tonight I wanted to do something a little bit different just because lately I have been producing a lot of celebrity readings. I figured that I could kind of like go back to my roots, so to speak, and continue my series, my Venus series, that is. So, with that being said, I wanted to discuss Venus in the sign of Aries. So, really quick, okay, let's talk about Venus as a planet and just what it represents. So, in astrology, Venus is the natural ruler of the seventh house, and it naturally encompasses a lot of relationship oriented themes. Okay, it's known to be the planet of relationships, but it's also known to be the planet of beauty, right? The things that you find to be beautiful in the world. But then also, it could represent wealth, money, and depending on the planets that are aspecting it, it could be a pretty solid indicator of your income, the things that you take interest in, maybe the way that you tend to express yourself in life, as well as the type of partners, romantic partners you attract, and even the type of friends you attract. Looking at the placement of someone's Venus can tell you a great deal about their love style, the way that they give and receive love in relationships. So, when Venus is in the sign of Aries, first of all, it's noteworthy that Venus is in its detriment, okay? Because Aries is literally the opposing sign. And with Libra being the natural ruler of the seventh house and Aries being the natural ruler of the first house, we're dealing with the original ascendant slash descendant polarization. And as a result, people who have their Venus in the sign of Aries tend to lose a lot of those more feminine traits that are associated with the planet Venus, okay? These people tend to be very, I don't want to say manly, but they can come off as very aggressive, very headstrong, and also very impulsive. Aries is governed by the planet Mars, and Mars is known as the planet of your passions, your drive, your willpower, as well as your sexual and animalistic desires, and even the planet of war. So as a result, these people they tend to attract, quite frankly, the bad boy, bad girl archetypes, okay? So in a woman's chart who has her Venus in the sign of Aries, she could definitely be the type of person to go for a Chris Brown, or, a guy who tends to embody a lot of those just like fringe kind of characteristics, all right? People who tend to display a lot of even like physical power, a lot of there tends to be a lot of like this battle of wills, so to speak, okay? Battle of willpower. And typically these people tend to have very short attention spans, okay? So, and I think just from just personal experience and observation that the whole, point of Venus Aries people being intrigued with these like bad boy, bad girl prototypes is that when you give them somebody who they know, because these people tend to be naturally aggressive also, like I said, naturally aggressive, naturally kind of very I don't want to say overbearing, but they can make their presence felt. And when you put them next to somebody who is more subservient, or somebody who has like a milder kind of personality, they can easily dominate them. And the whole point of like the game is the thrill of the chase. These people enjoy a challenge. They enjoy the idea of being with somebody who they're constantly trying to figure out, right? Being with somebody who, like, in a sick, twisted ways, like, this person dominates me. They kind of enjoy that. They like that. And Venus and Aries tends to attract situations just throughout life, whether it be in their intimate relationships or interpersonal relationships, where there's always going to be this reoccurring theme of either them imposing their will on others or them trying to prevent other people from imposing their will on them. You see what I'm saying? So it's kind of like the battle of the wills here. Very similar to the sign Scorpio, because Mars rules both Aries and Scorpio, but Aries is a more just outright, aggressive in your face type of energy. So these people can absolutely end up in situations, if their Venus is negatively aspected, where there's domestic violence, where they can attract people who tend to engage in a lot of that physical abuse thing. So, you have to be very mindful of that. And Aries is a very sexual sign, meaning that a lot of people with their Venus in Aries tend to be people who are instinctually driven by a primal desire for sex. So, and this could even manifest as somebody with their Venus in Aries, kind of being what most people would call superficial when it comes to their partners. So because you got to think about it. The natural ruler of the first house governs what? The physical body. So these people can be attracted to somebody based off of just what they see, just based off of that sheer primal kind of instinct. These people could see, for a guy, you could see a girl who is nice looking. She has a nice body. And there is this kind of intrinsic attraction to her. And you want to smash. You know what I'm saying? Like, for a guy with his Venus in Aries. And the same thing with women who have their Venus in Aries. I've noticed they tend to be, like I said, more masculine than your average woman, because they take an approach that's very aggressive. So these women aren't the type of women who are going to sit on the sidelines and wait for the man that they like to ask them out on a date. Okay. And once again, I'm kind of speaking just generally here, because of course it depends on other areas of the chart, as well as the aspects that your Venus is making. Okay. And what house it falls in, and etc. But for the most part, women with their Venus in Aries are going to be those women who take a more aggressive approach when it comes to pursuing men. They're going to be the women who ask you out on a date. They're going to be the women who, hits you up, fucks you, and then leaves you to sleep on the wet side of the bed while they, get up and get back to business. Shit, they might even call you an Uber after the business is done. And a woman in particular that comes to mind who fits this prototype is Rihanna. Rihanna has her Venus in the sign of Aries, and she's also an Aries rising. So she has very strong Aries energy in her chart. And as most people know, I'm sure she has over time kind of developed this image as this bad girl, as this kind of gully gangsta gutter type of woman who has no fucks to give. And a lot of that is due to that Aries energy, that aggressive, and especially in regards to her dating life. She's dated several men, and I'm not the type of person who slut shames and is like, why she, because there is the double standard where with men, they can sleep with anybody and everybody, you, your mama, and your goldfish, and nobody bats an eyelash. But as soon as a woman is a bachelorette and she's exploring her options and she's having fun and casually dating and having sex, it's the end of the world. But Rihanna definitely fits that she fits that type because she it's clear she dates when she wants, who she wants, how she wants, and you may see her with the same guy next month and then you may not. Lately she's been dating some billionaire from, like, I guess he's from Saudi Arabia, I don't know. But I think she even in an interview recently, she was telling the reporter, I get bored fast. I get bored. I get sick of guys. I get bored. And that literally is like the quintessential Venus and Aries person. Rihanna, you can definitely tell she's the type of woman, she knows what she wants. She definitely exudes a hypersexual energy. So I would not be surprised if she was the type of woman to make a move, make the first move on a guy. She knows what she wants. She's going to get what she wants. And if you don't, pique her interest after that, then she has no use for you. She's on to the next. And that is literally the quintessential Venus and Aries woman. I mean, and men are definitely like this. And that's another thing about Venus and Aries. These people tend to be very selfish. And the word selfish usually has a negative connotation associated with it. But like I always say, it doesn't necessarily have to be the case. Selfish literally means, the act of putting your needs first, which in certain situations that actually might be what's needed and what's appropriate. And Venus and Aries people tend to take this approach when it comes to their relationships and who they date. They're naturally the type of people to get what they need out of the situation first. Even if you're translating this to sex, these could be the type of people who, bitch, you better get your nut because I'm going to get mine type of deal. And it doesn't necessarily mean that they're not interested in pleasing their partner. It just means that they're literally like, they are hardwired to go for what they want, okay? And they don't know how not to. And as far as the financial department, these people tend to be very independent, and business wise, they make some of the best entrepreneurs simply because of that sense of competitiveness that Mars brings about. Now, on the negative side, these people tend to be big spenders, impulsive spenders, even, especially if your Venus is aspected by Jupiter. But, on the brighter side, Venus Mars people, once again, depending on what house it falls in, what aspects it's making, tend to make a lot of money fast. So they spend fast, but they also earn fast, okay? And because Aries is such an impulsive sign, these people can also have issues potentially with addiction, depending on the placement. They can also have issues with just doing things, acting before they think about it, right? Doing things before they can have time to sit back and assess the damage. And because of this, Venus Aries people can also be very prone to accidents, especially accidents dealing with machinery, weapons, because Aries rules all of that, okay? Especially injuries to the head and face. Now, if you're dating an Aries Venus person, the best thing you can do is to be open, direct, and honest, because these people are typically, what you see is what you get with them. And on the more positive side, they tend to be some of the most playful, fun-loving, outgoing lovers in the zodiac, okay? So just have fun with these people. And whatever you do, keep them guessing, because once you get them bored, you lost them forever. So yeah, that pretty much concludes my Venus in the sign of Aries little spiel. Drop down in the comment section below. Let me know what you thought of this segment. And then also feel free to suggest any series that you would like for me to take on in the future. So as always, make sure you practice unconditional self-love so that you can love others. And until next time,